Senate will come to order. Mr. Schaffler, please call the roll.
Senators Amabile, Baisley, Ball,
Excused.
Benavidez, Bridges, Bright, Carson, Catlin, Cutter, Danielson,
Excused.
Doherty,
Here.
Exum, Frizzell, Gonzalez, Hendrickson, Judah, Kipp, Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Lindstedt, Liston,
Excused.
Marchman,
Oh, Liston is here.
Mullica, Pelton B, Pelton R, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Snyder, Sullivan, Wallace, Weissman, Zamora Wilson, Ball, Liston, Mr. President.
Let's do this. The morning roll call is 34 present, 0 absent, 1 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Pelton R., will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I got you.
Would everybody stand up and join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the journal. Senator Judah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate Journal of March 12th, 2026 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Man, but the ayes still have it. That motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 139, correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 104 and 132, correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 77, correctly re-revised, Senate Bill 1001, correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 46.
Committee reports.
Committee on Health and Human Services, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1142 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Mr. President, the Committee of Health and Human Services has had under consideration, had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Medical Services Board for term expiring July 1st, 2026, Joseph Kennedy Costello of Arvada, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 7th Congressional District, occasioned by the resignation of Suzanne Lontine of Denver, Colorado, appointed for terms expiring July 1st, 2029. Amanda Jachlinsky of Golden, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 7th Congressional District, appointed. Kasana Littler of Morrison, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 7th Congressional District, occasioned by the resignation of Sarah Porter of Salida, Colorado, appointed. William Kennard of Boulder, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 2nd Congressional District, reappointed. Committee on Health and Human Services, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 60 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed in the consent calendar. Committee on Finance, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 135 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Committee on Appropriations, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 35 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 62 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 123 be postponed indefinitely. House Bill 1031 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Mr. President, the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed in the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Water Quality Control Commission effective February 16, 2026 for terms expiring February 15, 2029. Charles Garcia of Denver, Colorado appointed. Nicole Poncelet Johnson of Livermore, Colorado reappointed. Christine Johnston of Little, Colorado appointed. Mr. President, the Committee on Local Government and Housing has had under consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the State Housing Board effective February 1st, 2026 for a term expiring January 31st, 2030. James Martinez of Thornton, Colorado to serve as a Democrat and a resident of the 8th Congressional District reappointed. Mr. President, the Committee on Local Government and Housing has had under consideration and had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority Board of Directors effective July 2nd, 2025 for terms expiring July 1st, 2029. Beth Klein of Denver, Colorado to serve as a member with experience in mortgage banking appointed. Pat Meyer of Denver, Colorado to serve as an individual with an experience in real estate transaction appointed. Sylvia Ann Werba of Boulder, Colorado to serve as a member representing the public reappointed. Committee on Local Government and Housing, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 105 be amended as follows, and if so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 98 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation.
Introduction of bills.
House Bill 1185 by Representatives Carter and Clifford and Senator Roberts concerning the continuation of the cold case task force and in connection therewith implementing the recommendations of the Department of Regulatory Agencies and the Department's 2025 Sunset Report, including authorize the Executive Director of the Department of Public Safety to appoint additional members to the task force, continuing the task force for 13 years and changing the type of sunset review that is conducted by the department.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1213 by Representatives Smith and McCormick and Senator Wallace concerning the continuation of the Biomass Utilization Grant Program and in connection therewith implementing the recommendation contained in the 2025 Sunset Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies to repeal the Biomass Utilization Grant Program.
Agriculture and Natural Resources. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for moments of personal privilege.
The motion is to proceed out of order for moments of personal privilege. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and we'll proceed out of order for moments of personal privilege.
Ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, today we have champions in the House, in the Senate. We have champions on the floor. First ever women's national championship team, the Metro State Roadrunners, are here. This is our first ever women's national championship volleyball team, is what I should have said. They're being recognized today. They finished this season with a 32-3 record and a national championship, beating Concordia St. Paul in 4 sets. Was it this fall, right? And they're a week out from spring break, almost to midterms, and they're taking the time here to come in and be recognized. Thrilled to recognize this team, a school located just a few minutes from the Capitol, right in downtown Denver. They are Colorado's open access university, which means they serve any Coloradan with a dream of going to college. Last season, winning the national championship, as I said, the first ever in the state for women's volleyball. They knew before the season started, in April of last year, during their off-season workouts, they played and defeated every single Division I college women's basketball team off-season. They knew that this season was going to be great. They not only are excellent on the court, but off the court. They're great athletes and great students. They dominate in the classroom. The team holds an average GPA of 3.8 and has earned national recognition for academic excellence, including 2 academic All-Americans. Raise your hand, academic All-Americans. Come on. There you go. Yeah, come on. Come on. And if you'd like a chance to congratulate them in person, please join MSU Denver in the West Foyer at 12:30 today for lunch and mingling. They have, listen to this, 2 seniors, majority freshmen, sophomores. So we expect to see them back here next year, right? They have 1 senior from Germany, and they have athletes from all over the country, but here in Colorado, they're from Loveland, the Springs, Pueblo, and Alamosa. So please welcome the Metro State University Roadrunners National Championship Volleyball team.
Welcome to the Senate. Congratulations. Senadora Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I just want to join the good senator from Centennial in going and speaking about the joy that it is to represent Metro in my Senate district and to have this championship team joining us here on the Senate floor today. Given the fact that they've had a historic season and recognizing the power that these women bring to our university, I just want to join and say, in the midst of Women's History Month, thank you all for making history and setting an example for young girls across the state and across the country. Join me, y'all, in celebrating this amazing, amazing team.
Very good. Further moments of personal privilege. Seeing none. Third reading of bills. Final passage. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 132.
Senate Bill 132 by Senators Roberts and Carson, Representative Joseph and Soper, concerning a requirement that a law enforcement officer offer a voluntary preliminary screening test for alcohol to a driver.
Senator Carson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 132 and ask for its favorable consideration. My colleague has a couple of comments to make.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you to the good senator from Highlands Ranch for his partnership on this bill. This bill proposes to create Magnus's Law. And I know some of us heard this during second reading yesterday, but now that we're all here in our seats for third reading, wanted to mark this moment and the importance of this bill. Magnus White was a 17-year-old Coloradan from Boulder County who was killed on his bike on a state highway in Boulder County in 2023. Since then, his parents and many in his community have been advocating tirelessly to improve Colorado's road safety laws, to find justice for victims and their families in the criminal justice system. And this bill is one piece of that. This bill would ensure something will happen that did not happen at the scene of Magnus's awful crash, where drivers who kill somebody or seriously injure somebody need to be offered a portable breath test so that law enforcement can get as much information as possible to determine what may have caused that terrible crash. We've worked for a couple years now. The good senator from Highlands Ranch, good senator from Manitou Springs have tried to tackle this issue and many other aspects of road safety. And this bill is a long time coming. It's one of those bills that you wish we didn't have to do, but here we are. And I want to thank the Whites who are joining us here on the Senate floor this morning for their advocacy. Nothing we could do here could ever replace the loss of their son, such an incredible, promising young man. But they've taken their personal tragedy and trying to make things better for Coloradans in the future. And That's a pretty noble thing. So thank you for that. And with that, I also move for the passage of Senate Bill 132 and ask for an aye vote. And let's move Magnus's law to the House.
Seeing no further discussion. The motion is the passage of Senate Bill 132. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 132 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators, Mr. Majority Leader, Mr. Minority Leader, Amabile, Gonzalez, Frizzell, Zamora Wilson, Kip, Benavidez, Rich, Kirkmeyer, Doherty, Marchman, Cutter, Wallace, Judah, Snyder, Baisley, Weissman, Liston, Henriksen, Pelton R., Ball, Catlin, Lindstedt, Bright, Sullivan, Mullica, Colker, Pelton B., Bridges. Please add the President. And Exum. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 104.
Senate Bill 104 by Senators Liston and Snyder and Representative Clifford concerning a requirement to install exterior key boxes at schools.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move Senate Bill 26-104 as amended and ask for an aye vote on third reading.
Very good. Further discussion. Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 104. Are there any no votes? Senators Zamora Wilson, Baisley, with a vote of 32 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 104 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Wallace, Ball, Frizzell, Carson, Cutter, Kirkmeyer, please add the President. Majority Leader Rodriguez. Grant. It's okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pursuant to Senate Rule 21C, I move the Senate grant leave to the Joint Budget Committee to meet while the Senate is in session.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. But the ayes still have it. That motion is adopted. General orders, second reading of the bills, consent calendar. Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general order, second reading consent.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself to the Committee of the Whole. For consideration of general order, second reading of the bills, consent calendar. Senator Weissman will take the chair. Get in there, dog.
Ready down there? Committee will come to order. Code rule is relaxed. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to all the bills on the consent calendar.
Senate Bill 118 by Senators Coleman and Simpson and Representative Clifford concerning the payment of designated benefits to a charitable organization upon the death of a donor. House Bill 1146 by Representative Phillips and Hamrick and Senators Colker and Kipp concerning allowing approved facility schools to affiliate with the Public Employees Retirement Association. Senate Bill 88 by Senators Kirkmeyer and Carson and Representatives Winter T. and Martinez concerning the grounds surrounding the State Capitol building and in connection therewith providing for the maintenance and repair of memorials and monuments on the Capitol grounds and in Lincoln Veterans Memorial Park.
Thank you. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the passage of all the bills on general order, second reading of bills consent, which is Senate Bill 118 and the Finance Report, House Bill 1146, and Senate Bill 88, and the State Veterans and Military Affairs Report.
Thank you. Members, is there any discussion on the committee reports on any of the bills on the consent calendar? Seeing none, the question is the passage of the committee reports for the bills on the consent calendar. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it. The committee reports are adopted. Now, is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of the bills on the consent calendar. Those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, say no. Ayes still have it. The bills on the consent calendar are adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Members, the question is to rise and report. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, say no. Ayes are a bit more robust, and they have it. We will rise and report.
Good job. Senate will come back to order. Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee's met and has considered a couple of bills. Will Mr. Schaffler please read the report?
March 13, 2026. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had in consideration the following tax bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 118 as amended, Senate Bill 88 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1146 passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Weissman.
Thank you. I move the Senate adopt the report of the committee of the whole.
The motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 1 excused, committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 118 is amended. Senate Bill 88 is amended, passed second reading, order gross placed on counter for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1146 passed second reading, order revised placed on counter for third reading and final passage. General orders. Second reading of bills. Senator Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the committee of the whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. And the Senate will resolve itself in committee of the whole for consideration of general orders. Second reading of bills. Senator Weissman will take the chair.
Committee will come to order. Code rule is again relaxed for everyone in the chamber. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 87.
Senate Bill 87 by Senator Wallace, concerning authorizing legislative leave from employment during a legislative session for certain members of the General Assembly.
Thank you. Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 87 on second reading.
To the bill.
Members, this legislation provides members of the Colorado General Assembly job protections for their employment outside of this building while serving in irregular or special legislative sessions. General Assembly members will be allowed to return to the same position and salary level at their outside employment upon completion of each legislative session. I am excited to be partnering in this common sense legislation with my colleagues, and with that, I believe we have some amendments that I'll let him address.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
What amendment through yonder window breaks? It is L1. Mr. Schaffler, please read it for us.
Amendment L1.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L001 to Senate Bill 87.
To the amendment.
Thank you. This amendment delays eligibility for legislative leave for any qualified members who is already serving in a four-year term in the General Assembly. When the bill takes effect, making them ineligible to take legislative leave until January 1st, 2029, the delayed eligibility provision is temporary and automatically repeals on September 1st, 2029.
Thank you. Further discussion to L1 to Senate Bill 87. Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a friendly amendment, and I ask for an aye vote.
Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of L1 to Senate Bill 87. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. L1 has it and is adopted. To the bill. There is another amendment coming to the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read L2 to Senate Bill 87.
Amendment L2, amend printed bill.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L002 to Senate Bill 87.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment strikes the disqualifier that the state that states that members who directly manage more than 20 employees do not qualify for legislative leave. A few other states provide legislative leave to all legislators without carving out exclusions like this. I just want to ensure that we are careful about the judgments we make regarding who we do and do not want to serve here. I agree that the legislature should be representative of the state, but picking winners and losers by withholding this benefit, so to speak, sends us down a slippery slope.
Thank you. Further discussion on L2. Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Though a harsh take on the previous provision from my about-to-be co-sponsor, this is a friendly amendment, and I ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion on L2. Senator Bright? Nope. All right, members, the question is the adoption of L2. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it, L2 is adopted. To the bill, Senator.
No, go ahead.
Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, our citizen legislature should include working class residents, caregivers, public service employees, small business owners, and people in hourly and non-traditional jobs, not just those who can afford to serve. Unfortunately, our legislative salaries allow folks to afford to live in just about none of the communities that we all live in. As a result, talented and qualified individuals from a wide array of backgrounds are often effectively prevented from serving in office simply because they cannot afford to step away from their primary employment. This law, modeled off of legislation in at least 7 other states, would help individuals keep both roles, allowing them to serve while maintaining a living wage. We heard in committee, and I've heard in conversations about this bill, that each of us seeks these roles knowing the commitment and the pay that we will be receiving. This bill is not about that reality or about any of us. It's about the folks who do not choose to serve because they cannot afford to do so. They knowingly do not choose to run for office because wealth does not enable them to represent their communities, and our demographics as a legislature reflect that. The average age of the legislature is around 54 years old, while the average age of those living in Colorado is under 38. 26% of the legislature are retired, while only about 15% of Colorado's population is over 60 and would thus be more likely to be retired. And finally, my least favorite statistic, 5% of General Assembly members are attorneys, while attorneys make up less than 0.5% of Colorado's population. In order to change this skewed representation, we must support every effort possible to open the doors of these chambers to a wider group of people. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I ask for an aye vote.
Careful there with that last comment, Senator Wallace. Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, the reason why this was so important to me is I feel like that us serving up here is exactly that, service. It's no different than when I was in the military and I only made like $17,000 a year. It wasn't very much money, but it's part of being service, you know. And then when you got to come home and during our 3 weeks or whatever of leave, that's what we got to do, and I made a little bit extra money. But for the most part, I think that we have to remember that the reason why we get paid so little is because we're only up here for 5 months out of the year. And I think that having a place to go back to continue your job it opens up doors for opportunities for everybody in the state of Colorado. It's no different than the federal government when you leave that job and they hold that spot for you. And I think we should do the same thing here. I appreciate the bill sponsor for allowing me to get on this bill with her and to make these changes, but I think that the biggest thing is that we need to make sure that we're serving our communities and then we have some place to go back to. I'm very fortunate in the fact that I can work anywhere, be working in construction. As soon as I get back, I get phone calls and say, can you come over and help me work and do jobs and that sort of thing, being in construction. But not everybody has that opportunity, so I want to make sure that we have that. So I thank you and ask for an aye vote on Senate Bill 87.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Bright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's Friday, and I'm not trying to hold everybody here, but just a couple comments on this. When I saw this bill come up, I was torn because as a self-employed individual, I'm both an employer and an employee. And the employer in me is like, wait a second, I have to hold a job while someone serves. What happens to the work that needs to be done? And on the other side, as the employee, I have to say, awesome. I can't fire myself while I do this job. And so it's a tough choice here, but I appreciate the bill sponsors for bringing this bill. Since my good friend from Peltonia, Sterling area has gotten onto this bill, I must say that I would encourage a yes vote on this bill. Thanks, that's it.
Members, any further discussion on SB 87? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of Senate Bill 87. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, say no. Nonetheless, the ayes have it, and SB 87 is adopted. Majority Leader. Nope. Yes, all right. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to Senate Bill 120.
Senate Bill 120 by Senators Marchman and Wallace and Representatives Zakai and Bradley concerning law enforcement procedures related to missing persons.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 120 and the Judiciary Committee report.
To the committee report.
In Judiciary, we added some amendments to flesh out the wellness assessment that colleges will go through, as well as adding some amendments for community colleges to make sure that the door knock provision in the bill only has to do with schools that are residential in nature.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of the committee report from Judiciary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator. I perceive an amendment coming to the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read L3 to Senate Bill 120.
Amendment L3.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L003.
To the amendment.
This amendment, in addition to the remaining 3 amendments I have, are in response to a number of colleges. We've responded to CU and CSU and Fort Lewis, as well as the Attorney General's office with this amendment. So I would ask for your aye vote.
Any further discussion on L3 to Senate Bill 120? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of L3. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it. L3 is adopted. There's another amendment coming to the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read L5 to Senate Bill 120.
Amendment L5.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you. I move L005.
To L5.
Great. So this is specifying that we are going to look only at information related to a student's location when we are working through the steps for the wellness assessment. And then we also responded to the Department of Higher Education at the bottom and left out AHEC, an education center, and a technical college from the bill. I'd ask for your aye vote.
Any further discussion to L5? Senator Zamora Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just for clarification, when you say a student's location, can you clarify what that means?
Senator Marchman.
We've got it listed as the last known location.
Further discussion on L5 to Senate Bill 120. Seeing none, the question is the adoption of L5. All those in favor, please say aye.
I'm so sorry, honey.
All those in favor of L5, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. All right, the ayes have it. L5 is adopted. There's another amendment coming to the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read L7 to Senate Bill 120.
Amendment L7.
Senator Marchman.
I move L007.
To the amendment.
This is specifically for CU Boulder. This amendment will ensure that when the universities and colleges are going through their wellness assessment, they have to have the first 3 things go wrong, not find the kiddo, before they employ the emergency contact attempt, which is calling home. So in other words, they don't have to call home with every wellness check. I ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion to L7. Seeing none, the question is the adoption of L7 to Senate Bill 120. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. All right, the ayes have it. L7 is adopted. There is another amendment making its way to the desk. Mr. Schaffler, please read L4 to Senate Bill 120.
Amendment L4.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L004.
To L4.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience. We did get a lot of amendments, and we've been doing a lot of stakeholding on this. This bill is, or this particular amendment is related to CSU's request. This basically says that when a missing person report comes in, either the university can go directly to law enforcement, or they can conduct a preliminary wellness assessment. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Further discussion to L4. Seeing none, the question is the adoption of L4 to Senate Bill 120. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The aye has it, and L4 is adopted. Further discussion on Senate Bill 120. Senator Zamora Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was in committee on this bill, and I do think it's a good idea. The only concern that I had, and I'm just sharing with the body, that we're talking about students being gone, and this could be a new time for parents, where the parents, their child is going off to college. So there might be a little bit of anxiety on the parents, the mothers, more specifically. And this is also a time where the students are experiencing their first time adulthood and might not have that phone on, or they're going out hiking. So my only concern was the increased anxiety of a parent where their child is gone for the first time off to college, and you have the independence of a now adult child that's experiencing adulthood. But I do agree with this. I will be a yes vote. I just wanted the body to realize that there could be an increased demand on the inquiries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion on Senate Bill 120? Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members, for your consideration. Families and friends of those who go missing deserve to know that when they call for help, the system moves. This bill is about urgency, it's about accountability, and it's about making sure that when someone is missing, law enforcement responds with the speed and seriousness that that moment demands. I want to thank the good senator from Loveland for her empathy with and immediate action to assist the families of Megan Tressel and Kaylee Russell. And when she found that our system was lacking, she sought to change it so no other families faced the same pain of uncertainty and unresponsiveness. It is truly an honor to serve with you. Whether someone goes missing in a rural Colorado county or on a major university campus, the response should be the same. The urgency should be the same. That's what this bill accomplishes. I thank you again for your consideration, members, and ask for an aye vote.
Members, any further discussion? Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And there is further discussion. I'm going to take a few minutes to just share this incredibly important bill to me. It was 11:30 at night, last February 12th, when my phone lit up. It was a message from my sorority sister, Bailey. She was texting me from Georgia. She and her husband are a part of why my family moved to Colorado more than 20 years ago. She's a close friend of Joe and Vanessa Tressel, and she knew my daughter, Caitlin, was also at CU. She was texting me mom to mom, asking me to share a flyer with my daughter, because she didn't know what else to do. The message had a flyer attached, red background, a young woman with red hair and brown eyes, last seen Sunday, February 9th at 9 p.m., leaving Hallett Hall at CU Boulder. Her name was Megan Tressel. She was 18 years old. Bailey and her husband had known Joe and Vanessa for years, knew their girls, and now it was 11:30 at night on Wednesday. Megan had been missing since Sunday, and Joe and Vanessa had called CU that day. They were told to wait 24 hours. A mom in Georgia was texting a state senator because the system should have been moving, and it wasn't. And she was hoping just one more phone call to one more person with one more connection might help find this sweet girl. I want to tell you what I found out when I started making calls. But first, I need to tell you about another young woman named Kaylee Russell. Because this bill has two parts, and each part exists because one of them. Kaylee was 20 years old. She was from Evans. She was last seen at the Loveland Park and Ride on November 30th. I go by it every day, and I think of Kaylee every day. It started the way things start in a community, people talking. Has anyone seen this girl? Here's a picture. She was here. Anyone know where she went? Kaylee's mom reached out to me. I told her, tell the cops that Kaylee is an endangered adult. They can issue a missing person alert for her. She responded to me immediately. They said Kaylee's too old. There's no alert that could be issued. She's 20 years old. Too old? That's what Kaylee's mother heard while she was trying to find her daughter. So I picked up the phone and I called my local police department. Eventually, the CBI involved. The correct alert was issued December 2nd. It was 3 days after Kaylee was last seen at that park and ride. Her car was found in a canal on the 4th of December. Sadly, Kaylee did not survive. The officer who told Kaylee's mother she was too old didn't know which alert applied. That's not an indictment on the officer. It's an indictment on the system that never required them to know. Part 1 of this bill closes that gap. It requires every peace officer seeking certification in Colorado to be trained on every missing person alert, all of them, so that no officer again is unsure if or which alert applies, so that no mother's ever told her daughter's too old. That's Kaylee's fix. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened after I got that text from Bailey. Megan had been missing since Sunday night. Those kids live on their phones. When the silent goes on that long, parents know. Joe and Vanessa called CU on Wednesday, and they were told to wait 24 hours. They waited. CU never issued a missing person notice. Thursday, I was in touch with my daughter. She was living in the dorm right next to Megan's, both freshmen, both in their second semester. I asked her what she was seeing on campus. She had seen nothing. No alert, no notice to students, no word at all. Someone who lived right next to her had gone missing. She was angry. She knew something was wrong, and the university hadn't told a single student. The assumptions that's baked into that silence has a name. It sounds like this. Kids do a lot of couch surfing. It's often the first time they're away from their families. But that assumption was why there's no clock. That's why there's no requirement to act. That's why no one has to pick up the phone. But this bill changes that. Under this bill, if the institution checks Megan's room and she's not there, if they contacted her digitally and she doesn't answer, if they ask faculty and no one's seen her, then they call the emergency contact. That would have been to Joe and Vanessa. That would have looked like a check-in, so they would have known someone was looking for their baby. But they never got that call. The 24 window was not a promise. It was a waiting room with no consequence at the end. Friday evening, a community member organized a search in the canyon. That's where the FBI had determined Megan's phone had pinged on Sunday night. My hubby and I decided we were going to go search. So Friday night, I picked up the phone call to call CBI and say, hey, it's a courtesy call, I'm coming. And they had not been involved at all. CUPD, Boulder Police Department, had never contacted them. CBI only gets involved when asked to. But within 20 minutes of my call to CBI, the missing Indigenous person alert was issued. The one that was told about on Wednesday night that should have been issued by the university, not the police department, that had been contacted by the family since Wednesday, it was me. Saturday morning, my husband and I drove to the Boulder Library to meet for the canyon search. We haven't even had a chance to find Joe and Vanessa and meet them when the search was called off. We didn't know why yet, but Megan was gone. She was found in the canyon. Joe and Vanessa did everything right. They called, they waited their 24 hours, they were told to wait. The clock ran, and nothing came out the other end. There was never a missing alert issued by CU Boulder. The research on missing persons is unambiguous about one thing. Time is the variable that matters most. 70% of missing persons are found or returned within 48 to 72 hours. 76% of missing adults are located within the first 24 hours, but after 72 hours, outcomes are worse. The first 48 hours are when witnesses still remember, when evidence is fresh, when digital trails are warm. Here's what federal law currently requires a Colorado university when a student goes missing. The Federal Clery Act requires institutions with on-campus housing to establish a missing notification policy, but only for the students who reside in the facilities. So the standard is this: you notify law enforcement within 24 hours after the institution determines the student's missing. Not 24 hours after the report. It's 24 hours after the institution says this kid's missing. And there is no deadline in federal law for when that determination must be made. Joe and Vanessa called CU on Wednesday. They were told to wait 24 hours. They waited. There was no determination ever made. No alert issued. The federal clock started. It never ended. And no consequence. And for institutions without their own campus housing, there's no federal floor at all. This is not a bug in the system. This is the system. That couch surfing assumption is baked into institutional culture because the law allows it, because there's no hard clock from the moment of report. Senate Bill 120 sets this clock. 6 hours from the report, not from the determination. From the moment someone walks in and says, I cannot find my student, 6 hours to make digital contact, check the residence, determine safety, 6 hours. And then it goes to law enforcement. Not maybe, not when the institution decides to, or if they decide to, but whenever. And if at any point there's credible evidence of risk, the call happens immediately. In Megan's case, when they came in on Wednesday and she had been out of touch for 72 hours, that right there is credible evidence of risk. Under this bill, they would have had to have sent it directly to the Colorado University Police Department, who would have been bound to handle it under the statute that currently exists for missing persons. That did not happen. So I've stood in 2 cold parking lots, one in December where a beautiful daughter, sister, friend was last seen, and one last February with frantic strangers in the snow at the Boulder Library. In both parking lots, I stood with families who came because they loved someone and because the systems that were supposed to move had not moved fast enough, and because standing in a cold parking lot doing something, anything, felt better than waiting. Both times, we got the worst outcome. So I'm not going to stand here and promise you that this bill would have saved either one of them. I don't know that. No one does. But what I do know is Megan's phone pinged in Boulder Canyon on Sunday night. Her parents called CU Wednesday. They were told to wait 24 hours and waited. CU never issued a missing person note. Friday night, I called CBI, and within 20 minutes, the missing Indigenous person alert was issued. Right now, somewhere in Colorado, a student is enrolled at an institution that has no legal obligation to act within any defined time frame if they go missing. Right now, there are peace officers in this state who have no idea which alert applies to a 20-year-old woman reported missing from a park and ride. We don't have to wait for the next parking lot or the next canyon to close. We can set this clock today. This bill has 2 parts because we lost 2 young women. Part 1 is for Kaylee, so every peace officer knows which alert to use and when. Part 2 is for Megan, so that every institution has to act within 6 hours of the report, not the determination. For Kaylee Russell, for Megan Trussell, for the next student who deserves to have someone look for her the moment she goes missing. I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. People say this to Terry and I all the time. with what happened in our lives that they can't imagine. And we sit and watch TV, see the news, and read the stories. And we read stories and see stories like this, and we say to one another, I can't imagine. Just when you think that what you have been through is the worst that could possibly happen, a story like this comes about. This is worse. I mean, in our case, I spent about 4 hours that morning before I determined that I knew where Alex was. And I mean, I had the crime. I know where he was. I know what he looked like when it all happened. They caught the killer. We had a trial. We got all of that. People like this, people in these situations may never, ever get that. I can't imagine going through the rest of my life like that. I mean, although, closure is certainly overrated. There is no closure on tragedies and the pain that you feel. But these cases where you don't know and you can't get answers and you're being moved off from somebody else, and then even when it gets to where it gets closer to the end, it's still not the end. It's just the beginning of the next phase. We have to do more. We can do more. And I think things like this will open people's eyes, and we can do more. And so I fully support this, and thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Senate Bill 120? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of Senate Bill 120. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and 120 is adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez for a motion. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the Senate proceed out of order to take up House Bill 1038.
Members, the motion is to consider immediately House Bill 1038. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, say no. A couple of ayes have it. We will proceed to consider 1038. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title to House Bill 1038.
House Bill 1038 by Representative Pascal and Clifford and Senator Snyder concerning County Commissioner redistricting.
Senator Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1038.
Very good. To the bill.
Okay, folks, so brief history. I think you're all pretty aware of this, but 2018, state of Colorado, the voters passed Y and Z, 71% in favor. It was a very bipartisan effort, and it basically created the Independent Redistricting Commission, which I thought worked very well in the last redistricting after the 2020 census. Those measures required independent redistricting commissions for congressional seats, state house, and state senate seats. The only partisan elections in Colorado that were not covered were county commissioner races. And so it started in COVID in 2020, but in 21, a bill was passed out of the House, that's House Bill 21-1047, which brought many of the same qualities from the Independent Redistricting Commission to county commissioner races. So then they had to publish a map online. They had to adopt 3 plans for people to look at and decide if they want which plan they would prefer. There were other provisions, like they hold a meeting in every commissioner district. But the one thing they did leave out is that they allowed the county commissioners to be their own redistricting commission. I don't think it takes too much thought to realize having the folks that are running for the seat, creating the districts, is really not good. It loses confidence with the public, and it lacks the transparency that one would need. So I watched this process very detailed a couple years ago in El Paso County. They complied with all of the requirements of House Bill 21-1047,
But in the end, they made themselves the county commissioner, their own redistricting commission, and they added some seats into my own county commission district from a much more conservative area north towards the monument, and took out some of the semi-urbanized districts that were much more balanced and jettisoned them into the east, where really they didn't matter in that part of the election. So really, this will bring the final closure, the last piece home. It will require an independent redistricting commission for county commission districts. It does take out the current process where they appoint an advisory board, and then the commissioners sit as the redistricting commission. This would replace it with one, and they're required to make it balanced. It pretty much follows exactly Y and Z. So I think this is something necessary. It equally affects both political parties. The way the statute is written, it'll be an equal number of members who are affiliated with the state's largest political party, equal number who are affiliated with the state's second largest political party, and an equal number affiliated with no political party. So really, I think it would give great confidence to the voters in those counties that still have concerns that the way the system is right now, it does allow for the people who will possibly be running for those seats to draw those districts. So that's pretty simple explanation. I'm happy to go into much more detail, but pretty simple bill. So I'd ask for your aye vote.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I heard this bill in committee. Being a former county commissioner, I wasn't a county commissioner when we went through redistricting, but I was involved in that process. In our smaller counties, I think this could be a little cumbersome, you know, finding people that want to sit on these kind of commissions. I think this bill maybe, there's a reason county commissions were not in the original bills, and so I think we need to leave this alone, and I would urge a no vote.
Further discussion on House Bill 1038. Seeing none, the question is the adoption of House Bill 1038. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. No. Ayes have it. 1038 is adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over the remainder of the balance of the calendar till Monday, March 16th.
Members, the motion is to lay over the balance of the second reading calendar until Monday the 16th. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Those bills will lay over until the 16th. Now, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Members, the motion is to rise and report. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. We'll rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Wiseman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee's been meeting and has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
March 13th, 2026, Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report as had under consideration the following attached bills being the second reading thereof and makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 87 as amended, Senate Bill 120 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1038 passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 40, House Bill 1017, Senate Bill 112, House Bill 1103, laid over until March 16th, 2026 and retaining their place on the calendar.
Senator Wiseman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a half no vote, I'm just joking. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 87 is amended, 120 is amended, passed second reading, order of gross place and count for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1038 passed second reading, order of revised place and count for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 40, House Bill 1017, Senate Bill 112, House Bill 1103, laid over until 3/16/2026 and retaining their place on the calendar. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of HJR 1020.
House Joint Resolution 1020 by Representative Ricks and Espinosa and Senators Marchman and Wallace concerning the designation of March 8, 2026 as International Women's Day in Colorado and in connection therewith acknowledging the countless contributions that women have made in history and to contemporary society.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move, I'm not sure. House Joint Resolution 1020.
And would you like it to be read at length?
And
or
I
no?
would like it to be read at length by Mr. Schopler, please. Thank you.
There we go. I got you. Mr. Schaffler, please read HJR 1020 at length.
Whereas March 8th is International Women's Day, a global celebration of the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women and a call to action for advancing gender equality worldwide. And whereas International Women's Day is an annual celebration to recognize that women have fought hard to secure their rights of suffrage and equal opportunity and to honor the profound and enduring contributions that women have made throughout history in every sphere of life. And whereas through their contributions to the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and especially the peace movement, women have worked to create a more fair and just society for all. And whereas women have played a critical role in shaping history, from warriors to world leaders, artists to activists, educators to entrepreneurs, matrons to mothers, and scientists to social reformers, though their stories are often untold and underrepresented. And whereas women and girls contribute to every sector of society and deserve to have their rights and opportunities protected and enhanced, regardless of their race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic background. And whereas throughout history, women have fought tirelessly for equal rights, justice, and recognition, often overcoming systemic obstacles, prejudice, and inequality to create lasting social change, and have exemplified extraordinary courage and resilience by breaking barriers and leaving legacies that continue to inspire generations of women around the world, and working tirelessly to ensure that the doors opened by the women who came before us remain open for the next generation of women leaders, thinkers, and change makers. And whereas women have made significant strides in economic empowerment, establishing businesses, securing wealth, and leading industries, while challenging societal norms and expanding economic opportunities for women of all races and backgrounds, and have demonstrated leadership, ingenuity, and persistence in achieving success. And whereas in 1893, Colorado was one of the first states to give women the right to vote, and the first to do so through a voter referendum. And whereas after women were given the right to vote in Colorado, women across the state campaigned to bring that right to women throughout the rest of the nation. And whereas Colorado women have always been at the forefront of political and civic engagement, advocating for the rights of all people and shaping state policy, including in 1894 when Colorado made history by electing 3 women to the Colorado House of Representatives. And whereas in 1896, a national survey named Colorado as one of the 2 states that were banner states for women's office holding in the nation. And whereas past women of distinction and honorable mention within the Colorado General Assembly include Ari Parks Taylor, the first African-American woman elected to the Colorado General Assembly, Polly Baca, the first minority woman and first Latina elected to the Colorado State Senate, the first Latina in the nation to serve in both the House of Representatives and the Senate of her state legislature, and the first Latina to serve in leadership in any state senate within the United States. And Norma Anderson, the first woman to serve as majority leader in both the Colorado House of Representatives and the Colorado State Senate. And whereas women legislators play a vital role in addressing difficult social and economic issues and helping our country and the state of Colorado to prepare for the future. Currently, women make up almost 60% of the membership in the House of Representatives, and a total of 51 women serve in the General Assembly, the largest number of women to serve in the legislature in Colorado's history. Now therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 75th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein. 1, that we, the members of the General Assembly, hereby honor the achievements, contributions, and resilience of women throughout history, celebrating the strength, wisdom, and courage of all women who have shaped our world. 2, that we encourage the continued celebration of International Women's Day as a means to reflect on the past, present, and future achievements of women and to inspire ongoing efforts toward a future in which gender equality is fully realized, in which every woman has the opportunity to succeed, and in which the power of women's voices is valued and respected in every corner of Colorado. 3, that we commit to advancing the goals of women's empowerment, education, and equality by continuing to support policies that eliminate barriers to opportunity, recognizing the indispensable role that women play in building healthy families, thriving economies, vibrant communities, and peaceful societies. 4, that we recognize that while we have made significant progress, there is much work left to be done to create a world where every woman, regardless of her background, race, or circumstance, has the opportunity to reach her fullest potential, and that we commit to a future in which the contributions of women are valued, celebrated, and reflected in every aspect of society, today, tomorrow, and always. And 5, that we, the members of the General Assembly, recognize March 8th as International Women's Day in Colorado and invite the people of this state to explore the critical economic, cultural, and social roles that women have played and continue to play in every sphere of life in Colorado and in the United States.
I was clapping as well, and so I will find myself $1 for clapping that was started by the good senator from Thornton. Further discussion. Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today in strong support of House Joint Resolution 1020, and I am really proud to be a Senate sponsor of this resolution. Colorado has always been a place where women fought for more than was given. In 1893, we became one of the first states to grant women the right to vote by the will of the people. 1 year later, we elected 3 women to the Colorado House of Representatives right after they had just gotten the right to vote. So I want to share something personal today because that's what this resolution kind of calls us to do. It asks us to reflect, not just on the trailblazers, but on the quiet moments that shape a woman's path. When I arrived at Georgia Tech many years ago, the ratio of men to women was 7-to-1. I was studying chemical engineering, and I was in a Chem E 2207 and 2208 that was taught by the author of the very textbook. I looked him up. He is still there. But I sat in those seats, I did the work, and I showed my thinking. But on one exam, it was 2 questions, and I did the whole first question, spent maybe an hour on it, realized I got it wrong, turned the page over, got the second one answered, and realized, oh, I can figure this out. I went to the first one, crossed out my wrong work, showed all my good work, and I got it right. Well, when I got my test back, he had marked out my correct answer and had given me an F on the test. So I waited in a long line of men trying to talk to him afterwards, and I got to the front of the line, and you guys, do you know what he said to me? He said, you know what? The reason I marked you wrong is because anyone who would think that way doesn't deserve to be a chemical engineer. And he said, some women are cut out for this work, and others are not. And you are not. You guys, ouch, right? That was painful. Well, I ended up transitioning into a new major. I met my hubby. I now live a great life with him. So glad I did it. But this is the kind of stuff that happens to women regularly. And I just wanted to share that story because it's ouch, right? But look, made it. And he has made it too. So today we make up nearly 60% of this chamber. 51 serve in the General Assembly. It's the most in Colorado history. And we carry with us every woman who was told she's not quite cut out for this. And we've proved them wrong anyway. I urge you to vote yes on House Joint Resolution 1020.
Further discussion. Senator Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, today we rise in strong support of this resolution. This is an opportunity to reflect not only on how far women have come, but on how their leadership continues to shape the future of our communities, of our state, and of our nation. Women lead in every space that strengthens society, raising families, running businesses, advancing science and medicine, serving in our military, and shaping public policy. Their perspectives, our perspectives, and our experiences make our institutions stronger and our decisions more thoughtful and inclusive. But this day is not only about recognition, it is also about responsibility. It reminds us that progress does not happen automatically, but rather when we choose to remove barriers, expand opportunity, and ensure that every girl can see a future where her voice matters and her potential is limitless. In this chamber and across Colorado, women are helping lead conversations about economic opportunity, education, healthcare, and the well-being of families and of each of us. Our leadership is not symbolic, it is essential. International Women's Day invites us to celebrate the women who inspire us, support us, and who lead alongside us. And it helps us commit to building a future where every woman and girl has the opportunity to thrive. I thank each of my colleagues for standing with us today and ask for your support of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Very good. Further discussion?
Not today. They're not doing that today.
Well, let's get a big picture of the women.
Seeing,
I think they did.
Pass the resolution. There's no further discussion.
seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of HJR 1020. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Minority Leader, Frizzell, Kirkmeyer, Zamora Wilson, Rich, Pelton B, Baisley, Bright, Liston, Carson, Pelton R, Catlin, with a vote of 22 ayes, 12 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, HJR 1020 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senators Amabile, Benavidez, Kip, Cutter, Gonzalez, Doherty, Judah, Snyder, Henriksen, Weissman, Roberts, Ball, Mullica, Sullivan, Exum, Lindstedt, Bridges, Colker. Please add the president. Consideration of House amendments to Senate bills. Mr. Schaffler, please read the title of Senate Bill 13.
Senate Bill 13 by Senators Hendrickson and Marchman and Representative Zakai concerning cohabitation as a means to commit the offense of bigamy.
Senator Hendrickson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 13.
Please tell us why we would stoop so low, Senator Hendrickson.
Thank you, Mr. President, because I'm asking us to appeal to our better angels. You see, the House made 2 amendments to Senate Bill 13. They made an amendment on second reading. They were trying to be jokey, kind of like when we made it temporarily a law that all of the train stops had to be announced by Perry Will. And then they realized that there was actually something deeply problematic with the joke. And so on third reading, they made an amendment that removed the second reading amendment. And what they passed, although having been amended twice, is the exact same bill that we passed in this chamber about a month ago. So that leaves us in an interesting spot. We could adhere. I mean, we were right, and we were right first. We could go to conference committee. It would be the quickest conference committee ever unless we went beyond the scope of the differences, because there are no differences. But I think in order to be, properly polite, concurring is a way, in this case, of saying, bless your heart. We see and appreciate your efforts. Thank you. You've done enough. And we'll take it from here.
Very good. Seeing no further discussion, the motion is that the Senate concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 13. Are there any no votes? There we go. Senator Baisley votes no. Senator Zamora Wilson votes no. Stand up for your chamber. Senator Kirkmeyer is a no vote. With a vote of 31 ayes, 3 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, The motion is adopted. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 13.
The motion is the repassage of Senate Bill 13. Are there any no votes? What? Senators Zamora Wilson, Rich, Baisley, Kirkmeyer, Frizzell, Liston, Pelton R. With a vote of 27 ayes, 7 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Senate Bill 13 is repassed. Co-sponsors. Senate Services corrected.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 139, correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 104 and 132, correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 77, correctly re-revised, House Bill 1001, correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 46.
Consideration of governor's appointments. Consent calendar. Mr. Schaffler, please read the appointments listed on the consent calendar.
Members of the State Board of the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund for terms expiring April 15, 2029. Adam Eichberg of Denver, Colorado to serve as a representative for the 1st Congressional District appointed. Ray Rivera of Golden, Colorado to serve as a representative of the 7th Congressional District appointed. Brenda May of Lamar, Colorado to serve as a representative of Agriculture and of the 4th Congressional District reappointed. Patty Imhoff of Greenwood Village, Colorado to serve as a representative of the 6th Congressional District reappointed. Tom Lee of Greenwood Village, Colorado to serve as a representative of the 6th Congressional District reappointed. Jim Ramey of Grand Junction, Colorado to serve as a representative of the 3rd Congressional District appointed. Member of the State Board of Equalization for a term expiring September 2nd, 2029, Ty Coleman of Alamosa, Colorado to serve as a member with knowledge of property taxation appointed. Member of the Financial Services Board effective July 2nd, 2025 for a term expiring July 1st, 2029, Robert Chavez of Antonito, Colorado to serve as an executive officer of a state credit union appointed.
Joy Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of all the appointments on the governor's consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar, which are Adam Eichberg of Denver, Ray Rivera of Golden, Brenda May of Lamar, Patty Imhoff of Greenwood Village, Tom Lee of Greenwood Village, Jim Ramey of Grand Junction for the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund, Ty Coleman of Alamosa for the State Board of Equalization, and Robert Chavez of Antonito for the Financial Services Board.
Further discussion. Seeing none, the motion is the confirmation of the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes on the consent calendar? I don't know about that Ty Coleman guy. Something about his last name. With a vote of 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, those appointments are confirmed. Announcements. Would the Senate choir please assemble to wish a happy birthday to Senadora Gonzalez and Senator Coker, whose birthdays are tomorrow and Sunday.
Is it just us?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear senators. Happy birthday to you.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Apologies. We are going to meet as a joint technology committee at 8 a.m. to discuss referred budget requests for OIT on Monday in Committee Room 352.
Senator Amabile.
JBC will be meeting across the street in about 10 minutes, and we will be doing figure setting.
Senator Wiseman.
Thanks, Madam President. Members, just an early announcement about Monday's judiciary work. We had some changes late yesterday that didn't get printed in today's calendar. They will be printed in Monday, but on Monday the 16th, we're going to have appointments for the Juvenile Parole Board. We'll then hear House Bill 1009 and 1185. Senate Bill 96 at the request of the sponsor is off the calendar for Monday. Thanks.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Madam President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Members, if I could have your attention, we've all had different careers that have helped us get to where we are today to do this work here in the legislature. But there's one person who's had an amazing career that makes it very easy for him to do this job because his job has been very hard for 50 years. For 50 years, Senator from Colorado Springs, whose last name might begin with an E, today will be recognized by CHASA for 50 years of officiating sports in the state of Colorado. After having been yelled at by fans for a very long time. This is the easiest job he says he's ever had, and he's grateful. But Senator, we're so proud of you. We're excited for you. Well deserved. That's why you're still in the best shape out of everybody here. And congratulations, man. We appreciate you. Congrats. Program privilege.
Senator B. Pelton.
Thank you, Madam President. Can I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Thank you. I just want to tell the good senator from Colorado Springs, you're probably the only referee that I've liked. So thank you very much for all the 50 years. And after watching my daughter play for the last several years, you have a thankless job. So thank you so much, and I appreciate everything you do. So.
Thank you. Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Madam President. I request one final moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Just wanted to say thank you so much to an individual who has been in my life for 25 years, 16 of those married. This is how I get my brownie points. Shayna, thank you for 16 years of marriage today. Love you very much.
Senator Liston.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, you should have received one of these on your desk. It's just a friendly reminder. I know you're all super excited about coming to the nuclear lunch, the caucus. This Monday, we're going to have the good men and women of LIUNA and the IBEW of how nuclear energy will impact people in the unions and what they will do to further the development of nuclear energy. So I hope you'll come over in the State Services Building, and we'll see you Monday for lunch. I know you can hardly wait to get there. Thank you, Madam President.
Further announcement, Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Today is the 712th Friday since my son Alex was murdered in the Aurora Theater massacre. I thought I would remind you of the other 11 who also were murdered on that day, starting with Veronica Mosier Sullivan, who was 6 years old. She was celebrating the news that her mother was going to have a baby and that she was going to become a big sister. Her mother lost that baby that night, and she will spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. Alex Teves, A.J. Boyk, and Jonathan Blunk, they all died protecting the girlfriends who had came to the movie with them. They shielded them while the shots were ringing out in the theater. Matt McGinn was sitting in one of the front rows, and he was shot 9 different times that night. Michaela Medic, Rebecca Wingo, and Gordon Cowden, who took his 2 daughters with them. And during the trial, one of his daughters mentioned the fact during the previews when Alex jumped up and was cheering that a new Superman movie was going to be out the following year, that they all looked at one another and had a nice little laugh. He died that evening. Jesse Childress and John Larimer were both in the service, were serving in the military at that time. John Larimer was with 2 other Navy men and holding on to that leave no man behind. The 2 of them were carrying John out of the theater, and law enforcement wouldn't allow them to take him any further. So during the trial, when we saw the video of everything that had gone on, the first body you see lying on the ground is John's, and he was wearing a brand new Batman t-shirt that he had gone and bought while they were waiting in line that night. And Jessica Galway, who was shot 3 times, and the kill shot was one that hit her in the head. Clearly, July 20th, 2012 impacted more than just me and my family. and I want them all to know that I carry them in my thoughts. Every time that I speak about Alex, I will never forget them, and I won't ever stop standing up for them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate adjourn until 10 a.m. Monday, March 16th, 2026.
You have heard the motion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All no? Ayes have it. The Senate will adjourn until adjourn until Monday, March 16th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Thank you, everybody.